They thought they'd cornered two defenseless sisters, ready to intimidate and dominate. But what this racist gang didn't know, these twins were elite combat specialists, and they were about to teach a lesson they'd never forget. It started as a quiet evening in a small suburban town. Twin sisters Maya and Alana were minding their business when a group of men approached them with bad intentions. What the gang didn't realize was that these two women weren't just ordinary. They were highly trained in elite combat techniques. What happened next? Let's just say it didn't go the way the gang expected. Maya and Alana had recently moved to a small town to escape the hustle of city life. Both sisters, in their early 20s, were former members of an elite military unit specializing in hand-to-hand combat, strategy, and survival techniques. The sisters lived a quiet life, working as fitness instructors during the day and keeping a low profile. But not everyone in the town welcomed them. Whispers followed them wherever they went, and some locals made their disdain obvious with glares and muttered slurs. One evening, as the sisters walked home from a nearby park, they noticed a group of 6 men following them. The men, dressed in leather jackets and sneering, began shouting insults, their tone dripping with hatred. "Hey, you don't belong here," one of them yelled, stepping closer. Another laughed, adding, "What are you gonna do, call for help?" Maya and Alana exchanged a glance, silently assessing the situation. They had been trained for moments like this when fear could cloud judgment, but discipline would prevail. "Let's just go," Alana said calmly, hoping to avoid confrontation, but the men weren't backing down. They blocked the sisters' path, circling them like predators. "Where do you think you are going?" the leader sneered. "We're just getting started." As the men closed in, their smug expressions quickly gave way to confusion. They hadn't expected resistance, let alone from 2 women who stood their ground without a trace of fear. Maya and Alana exchanged a quick glance, a silent communication honed through years of training. They didn't need words. They moved as a single unit, each knowing exactly how the other would act. "Last warning," Maya said again, her tone sharper now. She planted her feet, ready to strike. The leader sneered, taking a step closer. "Big talk. Let's see what you've got." He barely finished his sentence before Maya sprang into action. Her movements were a blursh, grabbed the man's wrist as he reached for her, twisting it with precision. The sound of him yelping in pain was followed by the thud of his body hitting the ground. Alana didn't waste a second. When one of the men lunged at her, she sidestepped gracefully, using his momentum against him. Grabbing his jacket, she flipped him over her shoulder with ease. He landed hard, gasping for air. The remaining men hesitated, their bravado cracking as they watched 2 of their own taken down so quickly. "What the hell is this?" one of them muttered, his eyes darting nervously. But there was no time to think. Maya and Alana moved together like a perfectly choreographed storm. Maya delivered a sharp kick to one man's knee, sending him collapsing in agony. Alana spun around and landed a clean elbow strike to another's jaw, leaving him stumbling backward before she swept his legs out from under him. The twins were unstoppable. Their punches were quick and precise, their kicks calculated to disable, not merely harm. A man swung a crowbar at Maya, but she ducked effortlessly, countering with a swift uppercut that knocked him off balance. Alana, meanwhile, disarmed a knife-wielding attacker with a single strike to his wrist, the blade clattering harmlessly to the ground. It was over in less than 2 minutes. 6 men lay sprawled across the alleyway groaning, clutching their injuries, or scrambling to crawl away. The leader, now flat on his back and clutching his arm, looked up at Maya with wide eyes. "Who are you?" he stammered, his earlier arrogance completely gone. Maya leaned down slightly, her voice calm but laced with authority. "The ones you shouldn't have messed with." Alana stepped beside her, brushing off her jacket like nothing had happened. "Tell your friends," she added, her tone cold. The men didn't need to be told twice. Those who could still stand dragged their injured companions away, casting nervous glances over their shoulders. When the alley was finally quiet, Maya turned to Alana with a small grin. "Still got it?" "Always," Alana replied, tying her hair back like it was just another day. The leader, now trembling and desperate to escape, scrambled to his feet. But before he could make it more than a step, Maya caught him by the collar and yanked him back effortlessly. He stumbled, nearly losing his balance as her grip held firm. "Not so fast," she said, her voice steady but leaving no room for argument. She tilted her head slightly, meeting his panicked eyes. "You think you can just walk away from this like nothing happened?" The man's bravado had vanished completely. His hands went up in surrender, his lips quivering as he stammered, "I am sorry, I didn't mean, save it." Maya cut him off, her tone sharp but controlled. "Next time, think twice before you pick a fight with someone you know nothing about. You don't know what they're capable of or what they've been through." Alana stepped forward, her piercing gaze adding weight to Maya's words. "And maybe take a hard look at yourself?" she said, her voice calm but firm. "Ask yourself why you feel the need to go after people who've done nothing to you. What are you trying to prove?" The leader's eyes darted between the twins, searching for an escape but finding none. His head bobbed up and down in frantic agreement. "You are right. I was wrong. I swear, it won't happen again." Maya loosened her grip slightly but didn't let go. "Good, because next time, we won't go this easy on you." Alana crossed her arms, watching as the man swallowed hard, his face pale. "Get out of here, and don't let us see you again," she said firmly. Without another word, Maya released him. The leader stumbled back, nearly tripping over his own feet as he hurried out of the alley. His fear-stricken expression left no doubt that he'd think long and hard before crossing anyone again. The sisters didn't waste any time. Maya dialed the police, keeping her voice steady as she relayed the details of what had happened. Meanwhile, Alana kept an eye on the gang, who sat slumped against the alley walls, nursing their injuries and avoiding eye contact. When the officers arrived, the scene spoke for itself. The gang members, battered and humiliated, offered no resistance as they were questioned and cuffed. Despite their bruises, they mumbled excuses, too ashamed to admit they'd been overpowered by two women. One officer raised an eyebrow as he glanced at Maya and Alana. "You two handled this yourselves?" Maya shrugged. "They didn't really give us a choice," the officer chuckled, shaking his head in disbelief. "Remind me not to get on your bad side." News of the incident spread through the town like wildfire. At first, some locals couldn't believe it, but as the story was confirmed, their opinions began to shift. People who had once dismissed or avoided the sisters out of prejudice now found themselves admiring their courage. Even those who had silently harbored biases were forced to confront their assumptions. They didn't just stand up for themselves, one shopkeeper told a neighbor. They stood up for everyone who's ever been pushed around. The gang members, now facing charges for harassment and attempted assault, had no choice but to reflect on their choices. For them, it wasn't just a bruised ego they had to contend with, it was the reality of consequences they hadn't expected. As for Maya and Alana, they didn't seek attention or praise. They returned to their routine, carrying themselves with the same quiet confidence as before. But the incident left its mark on the town, sparking conversations about respect, fairness, and the strength it takes to stand up for what's right. Maya and Alana's story became a source of inspiration, not just in the town, but beyond. People admired their composure, strength, and refusal to let hate win. The sisters also used the attention to promote self-defense classes, empowering others to protect themselves and stand up to injustice. This story reminds us that appearances can be deceiving, and true strength lies in staying calm under pressure. Maya and Alana showed that courage, discipline, and skill can overcome even the most hateful situations. It's also a powerful reminder that standing up to prejudice doesn't always require violence, but when forced into action, preparation can make all the difference. Subscribe for more stories of resilience and strength, and let's stand together against hate and injustice.